I would like to get to know more, from where all you all are joining. Nikhil Sharma from Uttar Pradesh. Namaste, Nikhil ji. Shanta ji from Montreal. Aruna ji from San Antonio. Shri Shivani Charan from Memphis. Professor Rana P.V. Singh from Varanasi, India. Namaste to all of you. Great to know that, we have people joining us from all over the world.
Hello, this is Hari here, Professor P.B. Rana Singh Ji, that you mentioned, Dr. Pragyawats. He is, obviously, you mentioned Varanasi. He is a great scholar of Varanasi. He's an author, and we have had the opportunity of reading his books over the last 10, 15 years and more, his articles. Thank you, Dr. P.B. Rana Singh, for joining the webinar. It's our honor to have you on the webinar, sir. He is a scholar of good repute, whose works we respect.
Thank you so much, Professor Singh, for joining us. And
in our last book that we wrote in November on Kasi Tamilham Traditional Connect, we have mentioned, we have quoted his works and mentioned his name with respect in the book. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And we also have Rasik and Jyotna Joshi ji from Los Angeles, Dr. Atul Shah from Michigan, USA. Namaste to both of you. Welcome to the webinar. I think we should get started. More and more participants will keep joining. So namaste all of you. My name is Pragya Vats and I welcome all of you to today's webinar on society and culture in the Hindu civilization. And our guest speakers, as you all know, are Dr.D.K.Hari and Dr.D.K.HemaHari. And this webinar is basically to fathom the various dimensions of which we see in a Hindu's life, or which are there to a Hindu's life, which have, which are interlaced. There is an interplay of various dimensions, and these, various fabrics form what we call today is the Hindu Samaj. And it will be definitely interesting to see how Hemaji and Hariji unfold the various dimensions, their interplay, their, how and where the society, the culture, everything intermingles, and we form a common culture. And this will be, as you all know, this webinar is a curtain raiser to their course, which is part of our civilizational studies, that certificate program in Hindu civilizational studies. The course would be exploring Hinduism, society, and culture. And this will basically, focus on the civilizational movement of why and how the Hindus were kind of considered, and in many parts they still are considered to be backwards, and we think that we are completely patriarchal, obsolete kind of a society. But Hemaji and Hariji will unfold the myths. They will let us know about how Hindu civilization has been a hallmark for unity and diversity. And having said that, let me quickly introduce Hemaji and Hariji. I don't think they really need much of an introduction, but still, they've been teaching at HUA for almost 3 years now. Amazing teachers, wonderful people to work with. And the best quality about them that I've seen and I've come to know after interacting with numerous students, hundreds of students that they've taught over the last 3 years, and definitely from all over the world, is that they teach and they kind of weave stories around their subject matter. An amazing quality, I would say, Hemaji and Hariji. And after almost 20 years of their fields of managerial positions, senior management positions. Hariji has managed his family business. After almost 20 years of doing their respective jobs and managing businesses, they finally chose to follow the calling in their life, and which was the pursuit and seeking of knowledge through questioning. And it is very evident in the kind of repository of knowledge that they have produced. And this I will really need to read, because this gave birth to what we know today as BharathGyan. They started it together in 2000, BharathGyan Initiative in Civilizational Studies, which follows an interdisciplinary approach to researching on India from an Indian perspective and provides an integrated Indic narrative of the Indian civilization. They have 40 books on the Indian civilization in English, and their translations into Hindi, Kannada, Marathi, Gujarati, and Tamil. Wow. They have 300 short films on Indian civilization for social media, 5 documentaries, 60 mini books. Besides this, they regularly contribute to various magazines and are very, very active on the social media. And besides this, they have given over 250 multimedia talks in India and abroad. And BharathGyan is a knowledge partner for the Bharat Ko Janiye program of the Ministry of External Affairs. So, I mean, this is just a brief of what I could, quickly put in before the start of this webinar. Their accomplishments are many. So over to you, Hariji and Hemaji. You can, I will hand it over to you. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Pragyavats, for such a nice introduction. Very nice of you. And good to see some of our friends here in this webinar. Thank you for all of you for taking the effort to join. Really appreciate you taking the time to join this webinar. Thank you. As she said, getting on to the subject of the day, subject of this webinar, I'll let Dr. Hema speak a few words, and then I'll sort of step in where need be.
So as usual, we will start with sharing our screen, and we'll just so as Dr. Pragyavats mentioned, we are actually going to be speaking for a few minutes about the aspect of society and culture when we look at the Hindu civilization. And this is part of our overall series where we are looking at various aspects of the civilization. And we shall see why we chose this particular graphic to represent this. We shall be seeing that shortly. But fundamentally, when we talk about our society, our civilization, we have 4 words that first are the first things that we are asked to revere: Mata, Pita, Guru, Devam. And we are taught this right from our childhood. Every Bharatiya is taught these 4 aspects and role models that we have to have and whom we should revere. And it is this which actually takes us one step above from a society to form a very mature civilization. And why is this so? And what are these 4 pillars? I mean, we know that we can identify Mata as our mother, Pita as our father, Guru is our teacher, and Devam is divine, the divinities. Devata. So why are we asked to look at this if we try to...
As a 4 holding pillars from, look at the idea from your society. When you adhere to these 4, you become a civilization. That's what he's trying to explain, how this forms the pillars. Having said this, look at this.
These 4 actually also represent the 4 aspects of the civilization. So Mata actually represents women in the society. And every time we talk about Mata and we are asked to revere a Mata, a mother, while it is to revere our mother, it is also to revere womanhood and all the women of the society. And
Matru Shakti, Stri Shakti, Matru Shakti.
And why is that so? What is the role that women play in society that we are asked to revere womanhood, and that too as the first step itself? So that's very important. And
so it is not only our personal mothers, but all the mothers, all the potential mothers, and with nature, Prakriti itself as mother, and earth, Bhudevi itself as Bhumata, and the whole of universe as Jaganmata, Parashakti. Look at the idea. So the whole feminine concept, gender, is so not just venerated, but respected, and as the first of the pillars. That's the beauty of the Hindu society, which leads it to be civil, from which comes the idea of civilization. Because unless you are civil, you cannot have a civilization. So that's what elevates a society.
And very interesting, when you look at the word civilization itself, it relates to living in an organized manner as a city. So city, civil, civilization, civic, they all come from the root idea where you are living in an organized manner in a bound area which you call your city. And so from mother, you go to Pita, father. And what?
See that. Second one is Pita. That comes in the form of?
So what is it that is being told to you when you are asked to revere your father? Now, as we all know, we always talk about father. He is the breadwinner. He is the one who looks after us. He looks after the family. So what do we mean here? So when we are asked to revere our father, we are asked to remember that this society needs a lot of people. It cannot be just one person in each one just living and working and eating on their own, but to work together jointly for themselves, for each other, and for all the values that they stand for, the civilization itself stands for.
Work in tandem, work with ethics, and work with knowledge. The knowledge that's come down not just through years, through training, through generations, to decades, to centuries. So that gives it sustainable. That's what makes it. So only when it's sustainable can you lead to a civilization, and that which is in synchronization with nature. So that is the sort of work, sustainable work ethics we look at. So that is who gives it a Pita. So look at the idea of Mata, Pita. No, third one.
So actually, before we move to the third one, one other aspect that I want to highlight here, which we often say when we do our courses and we bring this aspect, that this civilization, when you look at work, he said sustainable. And so we are encouraged to work for sustainability of the environment, as well as creating and sustaining prosperity and flourish as well. So this is a civilization which has not looked down upon prosperity or flourishing, but has, on the contrary, encouraged people to do it with values and for specific common goodness. So for the common good of the people, it has encouraged people to generate prosperity. And how all have we generated prosperity? How did we generate? How did we safeguard it? And how did we sustain it? Is all that we have to remember when we pray to and revere our father. Then we come to Guru. So Mata, Pita, Guru. And Guru, as we all know, stands for wisdom. It all stands, it all goes to the root word of Guru, which is Gur. Gur is to pull, to lift up, to elevate. So here we are revering that force which elevates us, which lifts us up. So Guru is a person who elevates people up.
And what elevates you? Knowledge. What elevates us all? Wisdom. What puts it so that wisdom and knowledge should be put to good use in our work that we carry out. That's when it becomes sustainable. That's when it becomes practical. So you need that training system of knowledge. Your work alone will not happen unless you have a proper training system. So there is a methodology, a training system that's imparted. So there's a delivery mechanism of knowledge that comes to the system of Guru.
And it is not just Guru, but Guru Sishya as well. You can't have only Gurus. The Guru needs the Sishya as much as the Sishya needs the Guru. So the Sishya has to carry forward the Guru's teachings and become the next Guru for the subsequent generations. And we have beautifully called this the Guru Sishya Parampara. So when we revere our Guru, we are actually revering the entire Guru Sishya Parampara. And here again, look at the words we use. See, these are words that we use very commonly when we talk about our civilization. And the word here is parampara. And we often say parampara means it is tradition. But yes, so what is tradition? So tradition is something that we're all doing. We have been doing for across times, across generations. And that has been very beautifully explained with the word parampara, which says para. So you go beyond. So para, parampara, and you're transcending, you're going beyond time, you're transcending generations. So this Guru Sishya Parampara is what we are revering, because knowledge, there is a very common saying that you can never peg the mool, the starting point for knowledge or for rivers or water, because they keep cycling and they keep moving from one to the other. So that is what we revere when we look at this wisdom and we pay our homage to our gurus. And finally, we come to Deva, the divine, and which we, of course, when we revere, and it also we are revering our entire worshipping system. So this stands for the various idea of religion itself. So what has this civilization held as religion, and why do we have different words like dharma? What is dharma? Is dharma religion then? Because in Hindi we say dharam sometimes, and that means we say use that for religion. So is dharma religion? So do we call ourselves Sanatana Dharma instead of Hindu? Or what is Hindu then? So all these kind of things, we need to understand ourselves first. And also, what did we consider as divine? We have a lot of a wealth of literature on philosophies, and we have had a lot of schools that have spread various systems of philosophies. So what do all these signify? And therefore, what do we hold as religion? So that is something that we have to understand and revere the idea of reverence itself. So that is what the fourth aspect of the civilization is. And all these together is what has kept our society as a flourishing civilization and as a continuing living civilization for millennia. So this is something that we conduct as a course itself. So when we look at the Hindu civilization, we have to understand it from various aspects. And this particular aspect of the organization of the society, in the aspect of women, in the aspect of the work people do, in the aspect of how education system has been designed, and also how the idea of worship has been practiced itself. So all of these together is what make the fabric of the society. And this, interestingly, if we see, we call it the fabric because it is not just a two-dimensional view. We'll just show you a brief graphic for this. So if you look at it, once we start understanding the idea of what we mean by dharma, and then what it means to be an individual within a society, and from all these four aspects of the pillar, we will see that an individual has various perspectives, various dimensions to oneself. So you have, especially in the Hindu society, we have terminologies such as varna, we have terminologies such as mata, which actually, if you really look at it, one-on-one translates or maps to the idea of religion. And then we have various schools of thought, which one-on-one maps to the Hindu word darshana. So we have had various darshana, we have various matha, and we have the varna, and not just varna, we also have ashrama. And so all of these, when they are intertwined, not just amongst people, but even within one individual. So any one individual has all these dimensions. He or she can belong to a varna, he or she can have a matha, he or she can follow a darshana, and he or she, depending on their stage in life, will be belonging to some ashrama or the other. So all of these are intertwined within every individual in this civilization. And this individuals, all these individuals, their various aspects also get intertwined. So this is literally like not just a two-dimensional weave of a flat fabric, but a multi-dimensional weave for the entire civilization. And this is something that is that's literally a wonder, because it is not that we are, this is a dimension in which we are explaining this to you. It is that these are the dimensions that have been recognized and acknowledged by our ancestors across millennia. And they have taken the trouble to discern these various dimensions. That is what needs to be appreciated. The fact that so many millennia ago, they understood what is a society, they understood what is a civic society, a civilization, and therefore discerned these various dimensions and paid attention to it, and even coined words which very beautifully maps to what they mean. And these are things that, we need to spend some time on. We should dwell on them to appreciate and understand this better. So that is something, the reason why we call it a multidimensional fabric. And I would like to just show you another picture which actually highlights these aspects. So look at it. And what is even more interesting is that everybody was encouraged to wear a balance. So it was literally like it is like a seesaw. You're supposed to keep it in balance. So on one side, if you have the varna, you also have the jati on the other side. If on one side you've had your schools of philosophy, which is the darshana, then on the other side you have your religion. And you need to strike a balance here, you need to strike a balance here. You also need to strike a balance between your dharma, the various aspects in what a dharma stands for, which we will see actually has an implication on the roles that each one plays in every minute, and how these roles therefore have to be in balance with the ashrama or the stage of life in which you are. So these again, they have a balance. And it's not one ashrama, you have many ashramas, you have many darshanas, you have many mathas, you have many jatis, you have many varnas. So the combinations just explode, and explode in time and explode in numbers as well. So it's so exponential. I mean, more than explode.
It's expansive, or not only expansive, it's all encompassing, and gives space for every thought, freedom of expression, freedom of practice, freedom of living. It's a very free, open society, but we're also part of a larger society. And you can find your own place anywhere in this matrix. That's the beauty of it. Look at it. It's such a lovely matrix. And all this was thought of, devised and practiced for many millennia in this land. So the Hindu society is an inclusive society, which gives you your space to be the way you want, think you want, do what, but in a dharmic way, to live within the ethos of society, to live within the ethos of nature. So that is the beauty of all this. Is excellent, isn't it? I mean, so we, through this course, we look at each aspect of it, well wanted for each, for sometimes so we get an overall nice picture about all these aspects.
And strangely, it's only a knowledge of all of this and a practice of the balance across all of this, actually, which can really root us as a Hindu. And this is something that we can and we need to explore fundamentally. And so now that brings us to the point that, I just mentioned that it is like a seesaw. So it is a balance. And this balance in every individual and a balance and the harmony with each other is what makes our society. We have a very, very beautiful word for it. A Samaj. So we have always called our society as a Samaj, because it is the recognition of this aspect of you being in balance and also being in balance together all across with one another. And that ability and the way we practice and the way we organize ourselves and the way we conduct ourselves is what leads and makes the society a Samaj. And for this Samaj, and it's when you are in such a state of balance, that is when you mature, your society, your civilization matures from a Samaj itself, from being just a Samaj to actually a Kalachar thing. So, and look at the connection and look at the sound between these two words, Kalachar, culture. They sound similar.
Phonetically and symbolically also they mean the same. Look at this. This across the English language, this came the island, the little island of England, and this Bharatavarsha, which are so thousands of miles apart, centuries apart. Look at the similarity. She'll explain to you why is it Kalachar over the next few slides.
So let's say you're a Samaj, you're balanced, you have got all these dimensions and you have been practicing them and they become your customs. And we have a word for this, that is achar. So achar actually is a word which denotes practices, customs, which we call as tradition.
This is not the Hindi achar that our host makes in Delhi. Okay, that's achar, achar. Okay.
So this achar means that which has come to be. So the word char, it comes from the idea of char. Char means to keep moving. So that is why the cow, it's the grazing, the idea, the word for grazing is charna, char. So char is, so like the cow that never stands still, keeps on moving and grazing. So over time, these practices and customs don't stand still. They keep moving with time because they become relevant with time. So they become relevant to the state that you are in with time. So that's why you call it as achar. So those that you keep honing and they become achar. When you start customizing them to where you live. So which means that you are now not just doing it blindly, but you are doing it taking cognizance of where you are, what is the nature around you, the geology, where you live, the topography, all of that, the climatic conditions, the people, the demography around you. So all of this, when you start customizing your practices, keeping in mind all of this achar evolves to become desachar.
So your local hydrology, your local topography, your local climatology, your local food practices, everything adjusts your practices with your desachar. So that is what it is. So everything fits in, suits in well into each of those aspects. That's where the localization is very important. We'll explain more on this after the next 2 slides.
Now look at the other word. We have a word called vichar, which is thoughts. Now, when you have evolved and customized, and then you become mindful that you have your localized customs. Another group which lives elsewhere has their own local customs because they need to be customized to their local conditions. So when you are mindful of this, then you start having a kalachar. So that is when your achar evolves and becomes a kalachar, because now kalachar is something that it also denotes a level of maturity. So you now have a maturity to understand that you have to do these practices artfully, skillfully. You have to keep in mind your local conditions, you have to localize it, and you have to be mindful that others also have that, and they are doing it with the same ethos and values that you also have. So when you share the ethos and values, the thoughts, more than actually the acts alone, then you become a kalachar. And this is why, very interestingly, look at this. We have such a beautiful quote. Many of, actually, like Pragyavatji said, we have been compiling and we've been bucketing them into various different buckets. And we have one bucket which we call as Bharatiya Kalachar. And we look at how the idea of India, because there are various sayings that the British united India, India was politically so many kingdoms. So how is it you call it Bharat? And how was it a single civilization and all of that? And there are many people who have given various perspectives. There is one here, which is by Sri Jawaharlal Nehru. And he says, India is a geographical and economic entity, a cultural unity amidst diversity, a bundle of contradictions held together by strong but invisible threads. So this strong and invisible threads, this is the key idea here. And this is that kalachar, the idea, the maturity to be mindful of the local variances, but see the underlying ethos in all of this. That is the threads that are actually binding us. And we have actually so many aspects which show this single binding aspect of the entire idea of kalachar. If you look at so many different, so in this compilation we look at all these various aspects across India and see how all of these bind us together.
So some of this we'll be seeing through the course sessions, be seeing. But she said, no, the idea of vichar, she told you 2 minutes back. Can you go back? The idea, she spoke about the idea of vichar, isn't it? Mindful. So this is what, about a century back, the person who, the great poet, Nobel laureate who gave us the poem Janagana Mana, national anthem, he calls the idea of India. Can you go to that slide, please? He calls the idea of India it is not a territorial country like many kingdoms, especially of Europe and other parts, which have come because of a war, but the country is ideational. It's not territorial, but ideational. What he says in the English language about 100 years back is what we have said as kalachar, vichar, desachar, achar. And the whole idea is chara, to keep moving, to keep on moving. So successfully sustainable idea. So what he say, obviously he has understood this ethos as a Rashtra Kavi and has given us this data of this civilization itself being ideational. Having said this, let's go to the next point, please. So we have seen these 3 levels.
So therefore, actually, since we have just very little time, we wanted to tell you about what all constitutes this Hindu society and culture from the aspect of what the society and culture really mean to the Hindus. And we, as such, look at the overall Hindu civilization from various aspects, such as the identity, geography, history, all of this. And these are what we offer as courses here at HUA. The idea is, like I said again, to make it a Samaj. It has to be all about balance. How do you twin science and spirituality? How do you twin handling of gross as well as subtle?
Sukshma and Stula.
How do you twin the conduct of oneself and nature?
Prakriti.
So what is yourself and your role and your place in nature, and how do you interact with nature? So twinning of these two itself and striking a balance across all of this.
That is when it will come to the word of sumuham, wherein you are smoothly intertwined with all this. So that is when you are not away from. That's why she showed you a slide 5-10 minutes ago about how everything is so intertwined, every aspect. That is when you have the kalachar, that is when you have the society. All these aspects go with it beautifully, giving a striking a good balance. That's why Samaj. Look at that. So it is sama, equal, balanced. And what you're born into, you appreciate, you realize, and live with nature, live with people, live with the ethos, and move on in life with your topography, your hydrology, your spirituality, your sciences, everything aspect put together.
And the people around you.
So whichever part of the world you are, be it in USA, in Canada, in South America, or eastern part of Asia, or western part of Asia, or in Indian subcontinent, wherever. So we move with that aspect holistically.
See, the point is, actually, while we are looking in depth about the Hindu society, the idea is that from this, there can be learnings for each individual civilization, cultures, and societies to take the essence. And therefore, it is of relevance for wherever people are. So with that, actually, I think we will open it up for some question and answers, and then we can move forward appropriately. Pragyaji, we're open to your suggestion.
Of course, Hemaji, I think we can take up the questions. We have only 2 questions as of now, but I would just like to give a shout out to your students in the crowd. Will they want to come and speak maybe a few sentences about their experience in your course? I see Vanshika, I see Vikramji, I see Sonaliji. So I will... So shall we do that first and then take the questions? Okay, so I will one after the other. I will. Sonaliji, I am giving you the access. Can you unmute yourself? No. Sonaliji, can you? Oh, looks like Sonaliji has logged out. No, she's here. Sonaliji, could you please unmute yourself?
Am I audible now?
Yes. So we have Sonaliji who would like to speak a few words about her experience in the course. Please go ahead, Sonaliji.
Yeah, we'd like to say that she's from East Bangladesh.
Yes.
And she's joining us with a lot of effort from there. We need to appreciate and applaud her.
And Sonaliji actually has been doing about 3 courses with us very committedly from all the way from Bangladesh. Lovely, Sonaliji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. I'm from Bangladesh, and I have been trying to do all the classes almost regularly, but sometimes I miss the classes. Um, Overall, the experience is very great for me, and this course gave me a platform to learn about everything I was not able to learn, and also it gave me knowledge to counter everyone who tried to demean my custom and demean my religion and everything. So in a way I am able to argue with people and make my argument um, audible and understandable after my last 3 courses. I hope my future courses will also assist me with my journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonali ji. Vikram ji, please.
Namaste, I'm Vikram, and I just wanted to start from the beginning, how I got introduced to HUA. So about 3 years ago, somebody told me about this webinar. So I was very skeptical about taking a course from Hindu University. What kind of Hindu knowledge? I know everything. So finally I said, okay, let me give a shot. So I listened to Dr.D.K.HemaHari. It was the webinar, something similar to this one. So I listened to them. So I said, okay, what they are saying it makes a little bit of sense. Let me just take the course. So I was very skeptical. So I ended up signing for the course. I said, the worst can happen. I can lose a few $100. That's fine. So I took the course, but with the first class, when I took, it was so interesting, captivating, and enlightening that I was hooked after just one class. So I could not stop myself taking more courses. So from 3 years ago, I'm still a student of HUA. And I had so much benefit and understanding and knowledge of Hindu civilization that, and I became so proud of that. Before, I heard only negative things about Hinduism. But after listening to Dr. HemaHari, and they are explaining things with facts, with logic, and with proofs, and with the science, they can back it up with the science. So it was amazing experience. So I wanted this experience to the young kids to have that too. So I introduced some of the young kids, and they had a similar experience. And this is how I know. When I talked to their parents, they said, my kid, my son and daughter have become more respectful. We can have communication now. We can talk to each other, and their grandparents, their friends' parents. So everybody kind of came along and said, no, this kid has changed. And so generation gap disappeared. And also some of the kids told me after taking this course, they actually, whenever they applied for the job, they end up getting the job. If they applied for admissions in a college of their choice, they got the admission in there. So they became very confident. So those are the two things. Another thing, currently the international media is portraying Hindus as regressive and casteist society. But if you want to counter that, because that's not the truth, they're doing through a propaganda, through a malicious intent. So if you want to counter that, you have to have the right knowledge. And Hindu University of America and this course is the best place to get the right knowledge so you can counter them. Third thing is, if you decide to take this course, if you're still skeptical, call me, email me, I will answer all the questions. Again, if you take the course, after taking the course, if you feel like it wasn't worth it, you did not learn anything new, just simply contact me and I will refund your money. So this, I just wanted to make clear that this guarantee does not come from Hindu University of America. I am personally giving you this guarantee. Your money will be back to you if you don't like the course. So these are a few things. And I would like Vanshika Jain to share her experience, what she gained
Yeah.
after these. courses.
Sure,
So thank you
Vikramji,
so much.
first of all, thank you very much for speaking such good words about the course, which is absolutely true, and also about HUA. Thank you.
Namaste.
I will, Vanshika, I'm going to move you to the panelists. Please accept it and you'll be able to speak. Yeah. I think she's connecting. Unmute yourself, please, Vanshika.
I hope I'm audible and I'm visible.
Yes.
So
Yes.
namaste everybody, and like Vikram uncle just said that it was an honor for me because I got selected to the best university through this knowledge, and I also gained job experiences. I was given the opportunity of working in the Indian knowledge system because of this course, and of course with my mentor, their mentorship in it. So I have gained a lot of experience, not just my personal experiences in personal life, but also in professional career. Apart from that, yes, the generation gap has always reduced in my life between me, my grandparents, and my parents. So it has helped me to gain knowledge, communicative skills, and also helped me with a lot of things. I've been grateful to have this kind of knowledge from them because now I can say that yes, I have knowledge from the experts. So it is a great platform, and anybody who is listening to me, students, please do take their courses, because even today I am a student who is connected with Hindu University of America. Till today, I'm taking their courses, and I'm glad that I'm doing so. It is coming from a student, so a student can trust more. So I would just recommend this course to everybody who is listening to this. Please take these courses. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanshika. And we have Dhruv here who would
Uh,
want to.
Dr.
Sorry.
Pragyav, we'd like to, if you don't mind, can I step in? First, I'd like to
Oh,
thank
sure, of
Vikram
course, of
Sachanji for
course.
very kind words and the guarantee offer that he gave in a typical American style. Thank you, sir. Very kind of you. So you're putting the onus on us, which we will endeavor to keep up to ensure that we
People
make.
don't ask you for a refund.
Certainly, we have
They
no
will
worry about
not.
that. Absolutely.
I can also give that
Absolutely.
guarantee that people don't, because
Absolutely. And thank you, Vanshika. You've been a wonderful young lady, and we appreciate.
Actually, this is where, this Guru Sishya Parampara thing. For instance, actually, it was Vikram Sachanji who first joined our courses. He liked it, and he sits in America. Vanshika is in India
India,
Mumbai.
and
yes.
Mumbai, and Vanshika is kind of his extended family, and he motivated her to join, and many other youngsters he has motivated to join. And Vanshika now, after attending, she in turn is talking about this to people. And so, the by word of mouth, when you say Guru Sishya thing, kind of, this is the Guru Sishya is at a much, much higher pedestal as well. But by word of mouth, how knowledge refuses to stay bottled in. If you know something, you have to share, and then if the knowledge is about something nice, then you just can't resist but share it, and that's how it grows. And they are prime
Absolutely.
examples of how they've been spreading it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So I will let Dhruv in, or would you like to answer some questions or whatever?
You can have Dhruv in, and then we can answer his question itself first.
Sure, sure.
He has some questions that he's been putting up, and he seems very eager. Let's not
Yep,
hold him
I will
back.
just kind of I will have Dhruv just a moment. So Dhruv, are you able to join as a panelist? Dhruv, please join as a panelist and you can speak. Yeah, he's there.
ओके सबसे पहले तो नमस्ते सबको। इंग्लिश मुझे आती नहीं है तो हिंदी में बात कर रहा हूँ मैं।
Of
ठीक
course,
है
please.
या तो एक्चुअली सबसे पहले तो ये मेरा सबसे पहला कोर्स है एचयूए का, और आई जस्ट फॉलो माय ट्यूशन यू नो। सो आई एम जस्ट आई हैव टर्न्ड 18 3 अप्रैल को मेरा बर्थडे है, एंड मैंने ये सोचा है कि मैं अपने बर्थडे पे किसी को कुछ दूं। जैसे मैम ने बताया, नाम याद नहीं है मुझे का, ये पता नहीं है, तो इन्होंने मुझे जितना भी है बताया कि, और मैंने सीखा भी है कि अगर आपको हैप्पीनेस चाहिए तो आप दो। तो इंस्टेड ऑफ टेकिंग ऑन माय बर्थडे आई विल गिव, I will give my mom, my friend, my dad, my master, everybody who has जिनका बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट हिस्सा है, क्योंकि आज मैं जहाँ हूँ बहुत अच्छी बात उन्होंने कि एक्सटर्नल में इतना अचीव नहीं किया, बट स्टिल इंटरनली आई एम एट द फार स्केल. I have given 3 years to my inner self, you know that, and that's why I have contacted actually because I want to know, more about Hinduism so that I can apply the principles of Hinduism into my own, जिसके लिए मैं बना हूँ, so that I can shine just as Steve Jobs.
Okay.
Pragya ji,
just-
can we take his question at the same time?
Yeah, of
And then-
course, of course.
Yeah,
that,
sure.
ma'am,
Hello,
what is it?
Dhruv, and namaste, and
Namaste, ma'am.
wish you all the very best. Happy turning 18, and wish you a very great, fruitful, purposeful, fruitful, successful life and ahead, and especially with a lot of knowledge, so you can put it to very good use. And here you had asked a question about what is the difference between practice and custom, because we were using these two words. They are more or less similar. There is a very, very इनके अंतर एक बहुत बारीक coming, very thin line है. That is, see, practice, you can do good or bad. You know, you can keep doing. It's a good practice, bad habit, good habit, you can keep doing. Now, when it comes to custom, so practice only means that you are used to doing it and you can do it. But custom is when there is a value attached to it and others see that value and jointly everybody starts doing it. And not just only during your time, but आपके बाद भी people see the value and they follow it. They follow you. So your practices have some value, and when people see you and start emulating and follow you, then it starts becoming a custom. So that there is that small difference between them, but a very major difference in idea.
I have one more
So
question.
she said I'll finish. So in practice, you do it yourself. In custom, she said there's a value to it. So in trade, when you go to a shop to buy something, there's a value to it. So that custom makes you a customer.
Okay.
There's a value attached. That's why you're a customer in a shop. You're a customer in a business because there's a value attached to it. If there's no value, it's just a practice.
And therefore, what do
Right.
people do when you sell something of value? They add custom stats,
Okay.
right? So you also have the custom tax
Yes,
added
she's
to
a
it.
Beautiful
So
point,
that
isn't it?
extra value jo aata hai, therefore the custom tax and so on. So that's the idea, value. So when you do something, it has to have some value, and it should be something worthy that others can see, emulate, and carry it forward even after our times.
Okay,
Good.
so
Next point, please.
एक क्वेश्चन है, सॉरी सर क्वेश्चन ये है कि जो
No,
वैल्यू है वो
please.
वैल्यू बैड भी हो सकती है ना, जैसे कि देयर आर many hated in the world. You know about the Sidhu Moosewala murder case? You know, heard, right? The murder of Sidhu Moosewala. The murder of
Your
the
voice is not
Punjabi.
fully clear.
Okay, fine.
Anyway,
Am I
some
clear?
bad example. Okay, some bad
Okay.
act example.
Example, मान लो कि me, I'm a bad person. I have bad values, and I kill a person. So that the society मेरे से डिफरेंस हो जाती है, तो क्या वो भी तो कस्टम हो गया ना, एक सोसाइटी है, उनको वर्थ लग रहा है उसके अंदर कि हाँ इसने मारा, इसकी बाबा हो गई, समझ रहे हो ना, तो वो भी तो
No, people have to see value. So when you do some bad act, there will be repercussions. So Hindu thought
Repercussion
also
मतलब?
teaches you, repercussion मतलब उसका बुरे कर्म भी होंगे, तो उसका बैड इफेक्ट भी होगा ना, खुद के आपके ऊपर भी होगा और सराउंडिंग्स पर भी होगा, जो अगर कोई बैड काम किया है ना. तो द हिंदू थॉट कॉज एंड इफेक्ट. So the Hindu thought Karan or the effect for that. So Hindu thought also teaches you about that aspect of the karma and the effect, the idea of effect. So people will be able to see when some bad act is done that there is no value, and that will therefore be rejected by people at large. You don't have to write itself. It automatically gets rejected by people together. So collective consciousness bhi hoti hai, and they will automatically reject it. It will never become a custom. It may become temporarily a fad, maybe, but then automatically it won't last. It won't sustain by itself.
Only anything that is goodness in nature and in synchronization with nature will survive. Anything that is not in synchronization with nature will fall out automatically by itself over a period of time. It may be a small fad. The fad may be for a few months to few weeks to few years. That's all. It's bound to follow by its own, because it is not in anything in synchronization with character, in synchronization with nature is dharma. We'll discuss about this in the course. So you're welcome for the course. All these points has to be dealt with in a full detailed manner, which we'll be doing through the course, obviously. Okay, welcome for it.
एक और क्वेश्चन पूछ
Thank
सकता हूँ?
Thank you.
Sorry, Dhruv, we are out of
Okay.
time and we have 2 more people to take their
Fine,
questions.
fine, no
So
problem.
we can, yeah,
Thank
okay,
you.
so we will talk about
Thank you
it.
for the course.
Right?
Ask him the course.
Yes, I will. Okay, Dhruv?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
So we can take some more questions, Hariji and Hemaji. There are 2 more questions.
Yeah. So
Dhruv,
so I think the first is Sonali ji.
Biswas, yeah.
If guru is someone we can refer to as teacher as per current standard, then what is causing people to identify guru as someone with only spiritual acumen? Guru as teacher is a very, very loose mapping. Guru is far beyond teacher. So like we said, the word gur means to elevate. So, I mean, teaching is just passing on knowledge from one to another. And that is by either you can show them, you can tell them, and all of that, that is there. But whether the person gets elevated or not is a different aspect. Now, when you say a guru, then whatever this guru passes on is something that really elevates you in society, in as a person, in your own mental state. So from various perspectives, it can elevate you. And that is why you say a guru is more than a teacher. So, and that is why we have different words. See, we have a word for teacher. We also have a word called acharya.
Yeah.
So acharya is somebody who shows you which path to walk on. You see that person and you emulate and you walk the same path. So you imitate. So that is acharya, again charna. So that is a teacher. You imitate an acharya. Whereas a guru is a different role where you get elevated by that person. Sometimes even by the mere presence of that person, you get elevated. So there are various reasons how a person gets elevated.
There are actually various terms for this. When we deal with education as part of society, we'll deal with each of the terms and the meanings of it.
Any other question? I think Aruna Chabria has been asking about the course and yeah, and also about the kind of commitment, time commitment, I think.
Time commitment, yeah.
Yeah. So Aruna ji, actually, I mean, our courses are conducted every quarter and for 10 sessions in the quarter. Every Saturday, they are online sessions. 8:30 India time, 8:30 p.m. and goes on till about 10 definitely, and a little more sometimes between up to 10:30. And the time commitment, see, if you attend the online sessions itself, you would have gathered enough, because we show these kind of slides and we have films as well that we short films that we have made. We show you where they are. So with that, and these online sessions are recorded. So you can again go back and see them anytime. So with just that kind of commitment itself, you will be able to understand and imbibe what is being said. Beyond that, there are a lot of reading material that we give, that we put online, which you can anyway read. And all of these will be accessible to you at all times. So your commitment as such, online sessions are more than enough. And for additional knowledge, you can read and, we have a lot of information on our website for you to read.
So do we have any more questions? Thank you, Hemaji and Hariji, for the wonderful presentation. And yes, I would also appeal to everyone to please take the courses, learn more and more. We just by listening to Hemaji and Hariji, we have learned so much. So I can understand the students. They have really kind of gone through a lot of learning and unlearning, I would say, because there is a lot of unlearning that we need to do because of the way we've been educated and the system that we've been educated in. So my team will definitely be following up with all of you. We will be sending you the webinar recordings as well. And any questions, if you have about the course, the registration link, the, any kind of registration issues that you have, you people are more than welcome to call us. We will share the phone numbers with you in the emails. And any other questions that last minute closing questions? So any closing thought, Hemaji, Hariji, and then we'll close.
We never close our sessions. We always keep it open, and we're always open for, yeah. So I don't know how to end it, because
yeah, you're welcome to. It's now almost 60 minutes plus, so it's quite a lot.
There is a lot, and lot of aspects to enjoy. I mean, see,
Yes.
fundamentally, okay, this is the thing that we would like to leave you with, Today, like Vikramji was saying, that today in media, you see there are people saying so many
Negative
different things and the negative aspects of things. Now, there are two ways in which one can address this. One can pick up each negative statement and then start countering it and, just increase the noise. The other thing is, you can, irrespective of that being said, start talking the positives enough, loudly, and as much as we can. That itself becomes the narrative over time. Because the more sometimes we, when we counter, we also have to keep on re-emphasizing the negative again and again. And the idea is here, look at all the positives and talk about the positives 10 times. So then that itself becomes the larger message. There is a very beautiful saying that when you have a problem, let's say there is one line which is a problem. And if you want to overcome that, what is the way to do it? Draw a bigger line next to it. Then automatically this will fade out. So when you draw a bigger line, all the attention will go on to the bigger line than this line.
So when there's a negative propaganda, speak about the positives in a larger, rightful, correct perspective. It's linked to nature, linked to humanity, linked to dharma. So obviously the attention shifts to the larger positive perspective, because human beings by nature are positive. So let's talk about the positives. Negatives come from a negative framework of mind. We are positive people, all of us. Let's be positive. So that is what is dharmic. That's what the Hindu civilization has always been about, to be in synchronization with nature and in the thought process, and be practical, applicable.
And there is enough to appreciate it's endless. That's why I said we never close our session. We don't know how to close it because there is so much points to appreciate, understand are endless. And so therefore, there is so much to learn and enjoy.
So we welcome you all to the course. I think Dr. Pragyawat has put up the details about the course. So all of you are welcome to it. It's also there in our BharathGyan website. You can go access it there and see it and come along. We'll be glad to continue to interact with all of you on a regular basis on all these aspects of knowledge. So thank you all for taking your time to spend with us. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Hariji and Hemaji, and all of you who attended the webinar for taking out your time and listening in. And we really look forward to having you in the courses at HUA and look forward for your support and cooperation. Thank you very much. Namaste. Have a good day and good night for people around the world, wherever you all are. Namaste, everyone.